highlighted the effects of art therapy on stress relief. You're probably wondering what art therapy is because it's kind of new and a lot of people haven't heard of it. This is the American Art Therapy Association's definition, but basically what it means is to facilitate a therapeutic response from your patient. And art therapy is very unique because it has two great qualities. One is that it's nonverbal. So when someone is overwhelmed, they don't maybe articulate well, they don't even know where to start, something's too traumatic, they can get it all out in whatever shape or form. And then the second thing is it's very versatile. So painting, drawing, clay, acting, theater, writing, so many different types of performance arts and can be art therapy. So it's really all-encompassing and all those things can help out a patient. So here's a brief history of art therapy. This cave painting right here was the first recorded piece of artwork in the history of humans. And as you can see, once the basic needs were met, food, water, shelter, people started creating and documenting their lives. And these are really unique because they're just handprints. Later on you'll find more where they're buffaloes, they're people hunting, but this is just them documenting that they were there. And that's really cool. And then we have Adrian Hill II. His big contribution was that he coined the term art therapy. He was in a hospital for tuberculosis, and they had different programs there to cure it, and one of them was art therapy, and he would encourage the other patients to come in and participate with him. He wrote down all of his findings in this book called Art versus Illness, and he was just kind of a pioneer for art therapy in general by coining the term. And then the second lady, right here, Margaret Nomberg, she was the pioneer in America. So what she did was she realized that not a lot of people knew what art therapy was, and she went around and traveled and was like, I'm going to hold these seminars in the big cities of America, so like New York, Washington, D.C., etc. And she trained art therapists at these seminars, and she trained the next generation, basically. And then we have the American Art Therapy Association, which was established in the 20th century. When these programs started coming about, they realized, okay, we need a code of ethics and standards for practice in these hospitals. So they came and they set all that up. But they also unified art therapists. They gave them a common place to meet and talk and kind of got them all together. So art therapy, from what I just showed you, it's been around a long time, but it didn't get named until recently. And it also hasn't gotten its scientific validation until very recently. So these are 3 recent scientific breakthroughs in the field. The first one is by Krista Curl. She saw art therapy as a study, and she was like, we need scientific validation. We know that it's helping patients from our experience, but no one's going to take it seriously unless we have hard evidence. So what she did is she went through several previous practices and kind of compiled them all together. And what she found was that a couple of different studies, and I'm going to touch on 2 that she talked about. So the first one was one where they had 3 different groups, directed art movement, non-directed, and then just the control group. They had the 3 groups, they would come in and they had all the art supplies on the table, and what they would tell them is, you guys can, for the directed, this is what you have, we want you to create something, kind of make what you can. The non-directed, they were not given any instructions, they would just come in and told to experiment with the different supplies, and then the control group obviously didn't do anything. And then they would measure them before and after with the profile of mood states, and it's got 6 different sections. And what they found out from the results was that the directed art movement group, they showed improvement on all 6 scales, and stress is one of them. Not on there, but it's encompassed. The non-directed only showed improvements in 1, and then the control group obviously showed no significant change. The second one was a study where they used college students, and they asked them to just write throughout their semesters regularly, keep up with what they were doing, how class was going, assignments, and then they had, over the semester, they would review the stuff, and they found that the participants who took it seriously, wrote often, had better overall GPA and less visits to the hospitals during their time. So both of these studies answer the question of, can art therapy and art and any kind of performance affect the human emotional processes, and she found that it does. This next study, when I found it, I called Dr. Brown because I was very excited. And it's very scientific, so I make it sound confusing. I'm sorry. But basically, these researchers, they took fMRI tests of the default mode network in the brain. And the, right here, stress resilience makes up the MPFC, which is a core component of the DMN. So what they would do is they do these different art projects, and they would take the fMRIs before and after and analyze the brain. And what they found was, between the two groups, they had the art evaluation group and the art production group. The art evaluation group would just come in, they'd look at different pieces. It was a 10-week program, and they would just kind of look it over, answer questions, kind of like a group setting. The art production group, they would actually come in every week during the 10-week process, and they would make art. And what they found was that there was a significant improvement in stress resilience in the art production group. The art evaluation group showed no significant improvement. And this study is very exciting because this is the exact thing art therapy needs to be validated. This proves direct correlation between stress relief and art therapy. The third study ties in exactly to what I do when I get to the volunteer aspect of this project. This was a study of art therapy in jail working with women. They found that, again, they talk about the nonverbal, how that is really helpful in this environment, but what they also found, aside from stress relief, art therapy programs in jails have so many more benefits, like women coping with the passage of time, being able to picture a constructive future once they get out, and then rebuilds their self-esteem. In jail, people obviously aren't the proudest of themselves and how they got there. Their self-esteem is knocked down, you're on these schedules, time's not really yours anymore, so their self-esteem is already down, but programs like these help build them back up. So now into my actual work that I did, is with my capstone, with Turn the Page is the group. And basically Turn the Page just brings in books to these women, and they give them a place to sit down and discuss the literature. It gives them education in this environment. So the preparations I had to do for this was on June 4th of 2016, I went in for a training program because all volunteers in the Bradley County Jail have to go through a training program before they're even allowed to volunteer inside. And basically the training program is a sit down, they talk about what to expect, what kind of people are in there, dress codes in general. And that was really important to me to make it to that, obviously, because I have to do that for volunteering. But also, I did it so soon because I volunteered with this program fall semester prior to the spring semester. And I did that because I wanted to know the environment that these women were being in. I wanted to make sure I had experience and knew what to expect and be comfortable in there. That way it's easier on everyone. And then the book we chose for this semester, so Turn the Page, usually reads multiple different things. It can be poems, stories, but this one we centered around one novel, Silver Sparrow by Tayari Jones. And each week we were going to do a project per 4 chapters. So I read the book in advance over Christmas break. I went through and I kind of picked out different sections that inspired me or I thought could translate visually, and I designed projects for each of them. And I'll get to those in a second. So, I just want to debunk a few stereotypes real fast before I get into the actual syllabus. A lot of people, when I talk about this project, they kind of make jokes about how I go in and I read to prisoners, which is not what happens. So the group is designed to facilitate discussion, but these women, they read all the time. They're constantly craving books and just a place where they can sit down and talk to other people about it. They're all at different levels, obviously, but we're not going in there and reading to them. The second one is, be careful, they will probably try and hurt you. Now, it's definitely, I get it where you think that you're in this box with a bunch of violent people. But the thing is, this program is a privilege to these women. They look forward to it every week. They thank me every time I walk out the door. They're so excited about it. And because it's a privilege, they don't want to lose it. So they would never do anything to risk being it taken away. And they definitely said they're thankful for it. And the prison, it's not all the bad people in the world. They're not trying to increase their sentence by attacking a civilian who takes the time to come and work with them. So this is the syllabus. And I just want to say real quick before I get into my project this quote that inspired me while I was working on it and designing the projects. It's by Doric Henry. It says, "I try to stick to ordinary, easily obtainable materials so that patients can replicate the projects at home at the same time that activities themselves have to be adult." So this is important for two reasons. The jail is very particular about what you can and cannot bring inside. So obviously, easy attainable projects and materials are what you strive for. But also the ability to replicate them at home. You know, this is art therapy. You want it to be something they can do over and over again. Once they realize it helps them, you want them to be able to do it on their own. And the second thing about it being adult, with simple supplies and materials comes simple projects, and sometimes they can seem kiddish. With these people, they already have low self-esteem. You don't want to do anything to kind of knock them down or make them feel like they're being talked down to. And so when I was building the projects and working with the materials, I would text Dr. Brian or I would show people, I'm like, does this seem like something you would do with your 2-year-old? Does it sound interesting? Does it seem demeaning in any way? I didn't want to do anything to hurt anybody, so throughout designing it and facilitating it, and each week I would double check the projects and say, okay, do I really still want to do this? Is this still a good idea? And I ended up sticking with several of them. But so this is the syllabus. This is the first part of it. And I just also want to mention that when I came in and I talked about the projects, I photographed them every week and I had to get their permission first. And they were all kind of nervous about it because their art skills are all at different levels. But once I explained, you know, I just want participation. I just want you guys to contribute if you are comfortable with it. They were all very excited about it and willing, so they did give me their permission to photograph stuff, so I'll show that in a few. So this is the part where things got moved around a lot. Dr. Brian told me when going into this, you're going to have to be flexible. You know, things change all the time, and if the project runs completely by the syllabus, we'd be pretty lucky. So on March 1st, which I have right here, this was the day it got canceled due to the storms in Cleveland. Both cancellations will actually be due to those storms. And so we ended up moving the project down to March 15th, and we combined those days and did them together. And then on March 22nd, we actually had the lowest attendance that we had at any meetings. We only had 3 people there, and then a fight had broken out later, and so one of the women ended up leaving early. So during this, I owned 2 projects, pictures for this section. And then the following week, we got flooded with people. We had a completely revamped class. We had 9 people, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that was a lot in attendance, and they were all very energetic and excited, and most of them were new. I think we had 3 people that had stuck with the program, and everyone else was new. And on this specific day, March 29th, we were supposed to talk about the last chapters, because T.R.E. Jones was going to come and speak later, but with all these new people, we didn't want to talk about the end of the book and spoil it for them. So what we ended up doing was switching March 29th with April 5th's project, and we did the debriefing exercise, which I'll get to in a second, but we switched them. That way we didn't spoil anything. And then on April 5th, the day we were supposed to discuss the ending and do question preps for T.R.E. Jones, it got canceled again for weather. Okay, so now the exciting part of the presentation is actually the artwork that I collected over the semester. This first project is the book we read, Silver Sparrow by T.R.E. Jones, deals a lot with family dynamics and the importance and how everyone has a different idea of family. So the first project, I asked them to draw their family for me, what that looks like to them. And they each had their own interpretations of family. Somebody included their cat. This one includes religion and their friends and brothers and sisters. But one I want to point out to you, and I don't know how well you can see it, is this right here. This lady hadn't seen her son in several years because she's been in and out of jail, and she couldn't even remember what he looked like. So she was very sad. This project, no, for later. Try not to do anything that will bring out sad feelings, but Yeah, she couldn't remember what he looked like when she drew him, even though it was just stick figures. She was kind of torn up about the fact that she couldn't even make a resemblance to her son. So the second project, I don't know, this one's a little dark, but I had them reflect on a good memory that they had with friends or family, and just kind of tell me, a time in their life where they were really happy, because in the book, the main character, the next few chapters, she makes her first friend, and she's really impactful, and so friendship can be really impactful for people in general, and we have different ones here. This one lady over here, her work was always my favorite, because her doodles are really nice. This is her and her best girlfriends at Longhorn, sharing margaritas and talking about just life. And then we have this one right here, this lady's with her husband. And then we have a couple over here that I can highlight later at the end if you guys want me to go into them. The second project in the book, the grandma passes down this brooch that means a lot to the main character. So in this we had to do it yourself, make a piece of jewelry. We brought in construction paper and glue. We couldn't have scissors, so they had to kind of tear and whatnot. So here we have, this is a choker, this is a diamond bracelet, this is a choker, and then this is a watch. She didn't have time to, during our short group, they're only an hour, so she didn't have time to draw the little clock hands and time on it. And then this is the project where we only had 2 people actually complete it this day. In the book, there's a chapter where the daddy throws this big anniversary party for his wife just in celebration of their marriage. And I thought that was really inspiring, so what I did was I took that project and I told them, tell me about a time in your life where you wish you received recognition, or a big moment, or a time you did receive recognition, and here's some envelopes. I want you to design a card, an invitation for this event in your honor. So they had to put in their name, the name of the project, a date of when and where, and this is what they did. One of them's a birthday party, and then it's this one. I made one for my capstone, Dr. Brian made one. They really liked this project, and I was sad because we only had 2 people complete it, because I was most proud of coming up with this one out of my own head. And the second one, so this is when we had the full crowd that day, and this was actually ended up being my favorite exercise we did. It's the debriefing exercise that we switched on the syllabus. For this exercise, I had them we ripped up pieces of paper, and I had them all write one word that meant a lot to them, or they just held close, that was impactful. And then what we did was we collected them, passed them back around, and we had the other people, whichever note slip that they got, they had to illustrate the word. So, and then once they were finished, we shared the different drawings, and they would reveal who picked the word, what it meant to them, and the person who drew it would say, this was my interpretation, this is what it meant to me. So, I bet if you can see them, some of them look kind of funny, but, so this is a lion. There were words like marriage and love, that's why we have the hearts. There's a commitment, was this wedding one. Daughter was this one right here. And then, I think the word for this one was Jesus, or religion, or something like this. This one right here is King Kong. This is my favorite one. I haven't seen the movie, but the story for this one's really good. So the lady who drew it, she said her kids used to watch this movie a ton when they were growing up, and that there's this scene where everything's chaotic and the girl comes out and then everything's kind of peaceful because he loves her. And she said one of her sons came up to her one day and said, Mom, we have King Kong kind of love. When we're together, nothing else matters. Everything kind of stops. And so once she explained that, we were all kind of like, oh, we had an awe moment. Because when I first saw the word, it was actually, she hyphenated it, because she was like, do I have to do just one word? Can I use a hyphen? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. But, so I was very confused at the beginning, but afterwards, I was really happy that she got to use her hyphen. So conclusions and feedback that I got from them is, thanks to several researchers, art therapy is finally getting the validation it needs through scientific research, and incarceration reform is necessary, but art therapy has so many other benefits besides just stress relief. Like I said, it helps them imagine a life beyond the jail, it boosts their self-esteem, And when I asked them at the end, do you guys think this has been successful when you come in here? Do you feel better? What do you think? And the unanimous response was yes. And that made me feel good. But then also were these two comments that I thought were important. It's not about what we're drawing, it's about letting everything out, which goes back to the fact that it's nonverbal. It doesn't matter what your skill level is, as long as you're getting the emotions out and onto the page, you feel better. And then this one really touched me. Before I came in here, I was pacing around and my anxiety was up. I have real bad anxiety. Then I come in here and I put all my focus on the project. I feel much better. Thank you. This one was actually said directly to me while the rest of the group was continuing their discussion. And she leaned over and she told me, and she got teary-eyed. And she gave me the biggest hug afterwards, and I got teary-eyed. And it was just really special to me because this was the first, and not the first time, but like a big moment where I was like, I'm making a difference. This project is making a difference. This is important to the community and these women. These are all the references I used for my research paper.